my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. You may have noticed that I haven't uploaded in a while, and that's because I was on my spring break from university and ended up working nearly every day of it, which I wasn't expecting, but it did earn me Employee of the Month. So I didn't have time to do any videos or even much reading, to be honest, so I put everything on hold, including my Instagram posting, my blog posting and filming YouTube videos. So that is why I've been away for quite a bit, so you are long overdue this March Reads video. Because of me sometimes being the only lifeguard at the pool, actually not sometimes, several times, I didn't get much reading done, as I said, and I only managed to finish 3 books in the space of March. And because March landed in the middle of my spring break, it also means that I don't have any of the books with me because I didn't want to bring them back to university if I've already read them. So they've stayed at home. So I will instead insert a picture where my lovely TARDIS is in my background. The first book I finished in March was Queen of Shadows by Maas, which is the 4th book in the Throne of Glass series, and I cannot tell you how good this series is now getting the deeper we go into it. It's so intense at this point and I absolutely love this book, hence giving it 5 stars. I mean, the last 300 pages, I just devoured them, so much so that I was sat in the bath shivering at 11 o'clock at night because I've been in the bath for so long that the water had gone cold, but I just needed to finish the book. I honestly can't remember when I have loved a book so much apart from other Sarah J Maas books, and I don't think 5 stars even cuts it anymore. I think we should have a higher rating system just for Sarah J Maas books alone because they are so good. I actually can't tell you what this book is about, being so deep into the series that it would all be spoilers, but I can say that it's Selena's return to our darling, and that doesn't help that much at all. On Selena's return to our darling now, war preparations going on between all the parties involved, and I love every new character that keeps getting introduced into this series, and I swear that every page I turned was a new revelation and a new twist, and it was just mind-blowing the amount of things Sarah J Maas can do with these characters in these series, and I honestly feel like they are real people because they have so much given to them at this point. This is the point where you find out that I'm actually a rubbish reviewer of books because there's nothing more I can say apart from I was struck wordless by just how good this book is. I can't wait to get into the rest of the series now there's only 3 more books left in the series to go for me to read, but I couldn't actually start Empire of Storms because I didn't have it at university with me at the time, and I still haven't started it due to, again, the amount of time I spent at the pool over spring holidays, and because I've got only 3 weeks left of lectures, so that's for only 3 weeks left of university reading, and I don't want to distract from my university reading yet, so I've been putting this book on hold until my lectures finish, and then I can dedicate my morning and bath reading solely to it and be so in awe of it. I've also left Tower of Dawn and Kingdom of Ash at home. I haven't brought them to university with me because I really want to dedicate my summer to doing those, and I might do a reading vlog of both the books. Kingdom of Ash definitely, not quite sure of Tower of Dawn since it's following Joel's story yet, but there will be some vlogs coming up soon. Because I didn't have Empire of Storms with me at university, I moved on to one of the other books on my shelves. I decided to pick up Dread Nation by Justina since I had recently included it in a book haul and I was excited to get to it. I thought it was going to be a standalone, but the ending has opened itself up to more books, and I know there is an untitled sequel in the works right now, but because it's untitled that means it could be a while before we get to it. It's also why I wasn't too mad at the ending. If this had been a standalone like I was originally thought it was going to be, I might have been mad at the way the book ended, but because the story is going to continue, I'm happy with it. So I've given it 4 stars. The book is about a zombie apocalypse, but it's set in Reconstruction era America. This means that the zombies started to rise from the dead 2 days before our main character Jane McNean was born and during the American Civil War. So you have the old element of zombie apocalypse faced up against American racism against black people and Native Americans. Our main character, Jane McNean, who is 17 at this point, so the zombie apocalypse has been going on for 17 years, is part of Miss Preston's Combat School for Negro Girls. This is a school where they teach Negro girls to fight the zombies because the white people are too privileged to do it themselves. Due to the time period it's set in, there are people that still believe in slavery, but they get around this by having Negroes and Red Indians of America fight the zombies for them while white people live in their safe homes and compounds. Overall, I found this book really interesting. I love the way it was set out with the structure of the chapters having a little title and then having a little extract from the letters, which in part 2, when it moves from east to west, switch over between who the letters are written by. I also like the little titles of chapters is very reminiscent of the writing I have actually read written from that time. Equiano being one of them, the interesting narrative. So it does like look like it's written from the time. I really enjoyed the zombie element, but I wish it was brought in sooner. Like, I enjoyed the second half more because it had more of the zombies in it, and I liked what they were doing with the zombies, but I think it took its time to get to it. I could also see this book being a really good TV series, which I don't normally say of books. I normally like the books better than the adaptations, but I could see in the chapters where it'd be like, oh, this could be the end of an episode. I overall like the characters, but I could have done with just a little bit more development between Jane McNean and Catherine's character. I could have done with like having some more background knowledge of why Jane McNean does not like Catherine at all. Although I could have done with more fleshing out of the characters. I think Catherine's character was brilliant because she is in fact passing white, so she can pass as a white person, which comes into play in the second half, which makes it for a very interesting story development. Like I said before, it loses just that last star because of the character development. I could have just done with some more motives behind the characters' actions, and because of the ending left some things unsolved and some questions unanswered, but that's because there's now a sequel I found out in the works. If it had been a standalone, I would have been very mad at that. There are also some repetitive phrases in the writing style, but that might be because it's trying to come from Jane's point of view, and that's the way she speaks. There are some very good colloquialisms in it actually that made me hear in my head as I was reading Jane's accent, which was very well written. So as overall a book I would definitely recommend, as it takes the zombie apocalypse from a point of view that I had never thought of before, and I like what they did with the zombies in the Doctor's lair, but I'll leave that for you to find out. The last book I read in March was He's After Me by Higgins. The main reason I read this book is because I needed something quick to get me out of a reading slump, and somebody recommended reading an old book that you loved, and this was a book that I've read 3 or 4 times when I was younger and loved it. I still hold on to the fact that I love it, even though now, reading it now, I can see that it's complete and utter trash. It's not written great, the story isn't great, the writing is very mediocre, hence why I've given it 3 stars, but I'm always going to love it because of the fact I wrote it so many times when I was younger. He's After Me is about a girl called Anna whose parents are currently going through a divorce, and she finds solitude in this mysterious character of Jem who suddenly starts appearing coincidentally in different places. The story unfolds to be one of stalkers, which was interesting and so dramatic to me when I was about in years 7, 8 and 9, but it's also very problematic in the way that it portrays and romanticises stalkerism, because I definitely fell for the romantic side of this is a boy that is completely obsessed with you. It's probably why I love Sarah J. Maas's territorial females, but it's definitely problematic. I devoured this book in like 22 hours purely out of the nostalgia I have for it, and the structure makes it also a very quick read as it flips between points of view, and that means there's a lot of blank spaces in the page of the book, and it's a very short book. But it's also just, it's not great. I mean, the characters are really underdeveloped. There's no build up to any of the relationship at all. There's no fleshing out of the characters. You have no motives. It's just like, and then they were together and boyfriend and girlfriend. It's just like, you don't just go around dating random people that you saw at a bus stop. But I thought it was great when I was a kid, so I'm always going to love it, even though now I recognise that it's not thought out well and it's not written really great in any way. And things like the graffiti, it could have been worked into the book sooner. You could have had Anna and her sister Liv seeing the graffiti around town before it was worked in to be a crucial part of the story. And also the ending of this book is such a cheats way out of finishing a book. It's just like it's a complete and utter cheats way out of the book, but my year 7, 8 and 9 self thought all the drama of it. And I actually, when I first couple of times I read this, I hunted endlessly for a sequel to see what's going to happen, but that's just the way it is. It just ends on a bombshell. Overall, I'd recommend this maybe if you were a younger audience and you wanted something quick to read, but don't expect great things from it. And I've never felt the need to go find another Chris Higgins book to read. I just love this specific one just for the amount of nostalgia I have connected to it, and I'm never going to let go of my copy. So those were the 3 books that I read in March. Not a great reading month for me, really. Sarah J. Maas was the only one that I truly, like, really felt connected to and felt the pull to read it. Dread Nation got better as it went on, in my opinion, and He's After Me is just such an utter teen trash book, but, you know, I was a teen once. I'm not anymore, because I'm 20 years old. But thank you for watching, like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.